Nestling in a bay in the southwestern corner of Europe, where the river Tejo flows into the Atlantic, is the city of Lisbon. Lisbon is exciting and young, yet at the same time melancholy and endearingly old-fashioned. Its trams negotiate breathtakingly tight bends and astonishingly steep inclines. In all, there are 5 lines. They take José Cabral anywhere he wants to in the old town. José is a modern-day town chronicler. He takes photographs and runs a blog. Anything that catches his eye in the course of his forays is put on his website, which he updates every day.
There are cities which are famous for their beauty or elegance, but not because their inhabitants are likable. Here in Lisbon, we have a good balance between an inspiring cultural heritage and people who welcome you with open arms. This is my Lisbon. Beautiful and sassy, resolute, even a touch extrovert. A lovely woman with a feel for style. A woman who makes an impression. That's what Lisbon does too.
There are countless songs about Lisbon, always worshipping the city as a woman, as a radiant mistress.
There is one commodity that Lisbon has in abundance: light. It is reflected in our faces, in our smiles, and in the delight of those who visit us.
José Cabral trained as a bank clerk, but he packed in his job, bought a second-hand camera, and decided to try his luck as a freelancer.
It's said that when we do something we like best, we're running a risk, that of being happy. That's how I still feel today.
José is currently taking photos for a promotional campaign commissioned by the city of Lisbon. Every day he keeps an eye out for interesting faces against the backdrop of urban motifs. José's job is to find ambassadors for his city, people like Sofia Tempero, who has dedicated herself to preserving centuries-old tiles.
Here we see ordinary folk. The baskets they're carrying on their heads contain produce they are going to sell at market. The figures are depicted against scenarios that come not from Lisbon, but from further north in Europe. The artists simply copied the foreign architecture displayed on other works.
For this campaign poster, José has the tile expert saying, "Lisbon is the reflection of the light in my eyes."
These are in a really poor state. They are beautiful, typical 17th century. They date back to the first half of the 17th century. To assess the damage, we need to tap the tiles, like a doctor examining a patient. This tile sounds quite different from this one, which has a dry sound. You can hear that this tile is close to falling out.
Sofia is a historian and part of a task force which the city set up to save and document the omnipresent azulejos. Some 30 scientists are involved in the project. Here they are examining the tile fresco at the Miraduro Santa Luzia lookout point.
In just 20 years, a quarter of all the azulejos in Lisbon have been lost, neglected, destroyed or sold off. That's scary. And in another 20 years' time, will half of what is left also have gone?
The art guardians are faced with art thieves searching the streets of Lisbon day and night. Azulejos are in big demand on the black market.
The tiles reflect light. They illuminate us and the buildings opposite. Depending on the sunlight and the angle of the sun, the variety of colours emphasises reliefs or certain lines. There's a kind of movement. It's an impression architecture could never provide because it's static. Ours in particular is austere. Azulejos are just the opposite. You could say they are like a masquerade, a carnival on the facades.
Sofia seems to be married to her azulejos.
After all, I do spend 8 hours a day with them.
Lisbon's geographical position played a major role in Portugal's rise as a maritime power. It's a favourable but unprotected location, which in 1775 proved calamitous. An earthquake, followed by a huge tidal wave, totally destroyed the centre of the city. Reconstruction of the lower town, the Baixa, was planned on the drawing board and organised by the reformer, the Marquis of Pombal. The Baixa is still the heart of Lisbon.
It's almost impossible to live in Lisbon and not feel inspired by this city and not to want to pass on this feeling. Normally, we don't truly appreciate the things that surround us in our daily lives. But we Portuguese, I believe, are slowly beginning to comprehend the magic this city has. You're standing like a bullfighter. This young man is like a brand, a testimony to Portuguese cuisine and its outstanding quality.
dos símbolos, enfim, da excelência da cozinha portuguesa.
José Avilés is one of Portugal's few two-star Michelin chefs. Cabral's caption for him reads, "Lisbon is what comes from my hands." But Cabral confesses,
E para ser completamente franco,
I've never been to his restaurant.
the gourmet chef has come to the Palacio Nacional da Ajuda, the former royal palace, to meet artist Joana Vasconcelos. She has asked him to create the menu for her exhibition opening.
As a main course, I've chosen fried stockfish garnished with very special olives. There will be a choice of 2 hors d'oeuvres, a typical Lisbon soup made from dried broad beans, the kind they used to sell in the street. I'm also going to make another bean soup with the world-famous artichokes from Venice, a touch of Biennale.
Sounds great.
For dessert, a traditional almond cake with raspberry ice cream.
In Portugal, José Avilés and Joana Vasconcelos are regarded as the uncrowned king and queen of their professions. The song forming the acoustic backdrop to Joana Vasconcelos' sculpture, Free Red Heart, is an example of fado, the characteristic music of Lisbon. Joana Vasconcelos was born in Paris. Her bizarre creations have previously been on display in the palace and the gardens at Versailles. She has also exhibited in Tokyo, Sao Paulo, New York, Moscow, London, and at the Biennale in Venice.
I turned a helicopter into a coach. Then I asked myself how a modern-day queen would live in the Palace of Ajuda or in Versailles. In this way, the past meets the present. Ostrich feathers have become flamingos.
The helicopter reminds me of a bird or an insect.
It's what you do in your kitchen. Experiment and transform.
Joanna is a great artist. She's my inspiration. Her creative power makes me want to become even better.
Likewise, we Portuguese often have too negative an opinion of ourselves, but in our case, it's just the opposite.
Located next to the Lisbon Opera House in the fashionable suburb of Chiado is José Avilés' restaurant, the Bel Canto. It is frequented by artists, celebrities, politicians, and gourmets. Although he's only 33 years old, José already has 2 Michelin stars to his name. He sees his creations as a culinary tribute to Lisbon and the Atlantic coast.
Here we have various types of shellfish. The sand consists of algae biscuit with pieces of green apple in between. The foam is made from seawater and coconut. It's an hors d'oeuvre like a breaking wave. This is my Lisbon, the taste of seafood. Here we have grilled sardines with a touch of grilled peppers on cucumber sorbet, the aroma of street festivals. The silver grey scales and the dark sardine fillets form a beautiful contrast. Indeed, Lisbon is characterized by its contrasts.
The Ponte 25 de Abril, the majestic bridge that has spanned the river Tejo since 1966.
You need a head for heights and complete concentration on what you're doing. Your tools must always be secured, otherwise they could fall onto the cars down below.
Não está acesa? Está. Está acesa, está. Está acesa, está.
Está com uma cor esquisita.
Está a aquecer ainda.
Porque se deu o movimento das Forças Armadas a 25 de Abril.
Up until the Carnation Revolution of April 1974, the bridge was named after the dictator Salazar. For many Portuguese, not a name with a nice ring to it. We were all happy when it was renamed the 25th of April Bridge, because we associated the name Salazar with repression, poor working conditions and lousy wages.
So the Portuguese made the bridge over the Tejo a symbol of their triumph over the dictatorship and the transformation of their country into a democracy. The younger but longer bridge spanning the Tejo estuary is named after Vasco da Gama, the maritime explorer who discovered the sea route from Europe to India. Symbolically, it links the time when Portugal was a global power with the high-tech era of today. Construction of the bridge was completed in time for Expo 98. The theme of the World Fair was The Oceans, a heritage for the future. A new suburb was also created for the Expo, now known as the Parque das Nações, or Park of the Nations. But not too far away from the cutting-edge architecture, you'll still find the old Lisbon.
Dona Sofia, our Madragoa suburb is beautiful.
Say it again, but louder.
Dona Sofia, our suburb is beautiful.
Right, now I can hear you.
Sophia also finds some of her beloved tiles in the pastoral part of Lisbon.
Can you see? We're on the shady side of the street, but you can still see my shadow. That comes from the powerful reflection of light by the azulejos up there. The light is so strong. The reflections even penetrate Lisbon's dark and narrow alleyways. The azulejos multiply the light or they focus it. They reflect the light. The impression is constantly changing, depending on whether you're going up or down an alley, whether it is straight or winding, whether people are in the street, whether washing has been strung from one side to the other. Azulejos and light are two partners in an alliance, a festival of light. And the smiles on people's faces make everything even brighter. You must tell me how you get your coffee to taste so good. It has a unique flavour. Oh no, please, this is your home. What an aroma.
Flor da Selva, flower of the jungle, is the name of Senor Jorge's coffee shop in Madragoa.
This is the only roasting house in Lisbon that still fires with wood. The coffee contains no additives or preservatives.
It's the same with bread. Baking it in a wood-fired oven gives it a characteristic taste. Our coffee comes from all over the world. The blends are my own recipes. Some of our home recipes are over 60 years old.
Like the Strelicia, which I drink.
An old, noble blend.
What if I wanted a flavour that was bitter or sweeter?
We'd prepare it for you.
Customised coffee.
José Avilés loves Lisbon's old shops. The Monte Garia Silva supplies him with products from small businesses all over the country. Today, our gourmet chef wants to sample cheese from the Serra da Estrela, the highest mountain range in northern Portugal, at various stages of maturity and accompanied by a fine port.
You're bound to like this one. It already has depth. It has matured for 6 months, but it could get even better.
When a cheese reaches this stage of maturity, you can even talk to it, not just put it on bread and eat it. With a fine glass of wine, you can chat to it for hours.
Next door, old Senor Silva is preparing stockfish, salted and dried cod, known here in Portugal as bacalhau. There are over 1,200 recipes for preparing it.
Tourists also buy our bacalhau. It's very popular. As you know, the Portuguese caught cod off Canada 300 years ago. It was a hard life. Anyone who worked on board for 3 fishing seasons was even exempt from military service. And back then, Portugal was fighting wars in its African colonies.
The city is on the Atlantic coast. Fresh catches are brought in every day. So why is stockfish a speciality?
It has to do with our culture. For a long time, the fish was our faithful friend because it was so cheap. Tradition and taste memory play a big role here.
I'm now going to show you something unique in Lisbon. You won't believe it.
Vai ter que adivinhar.
Sofia Tempero has taken us to meet 3 ladies she knows very well. They are obviously delighted to see her. After the usual pleasantries, she asks Donna Olivia how busy she is these days. Towards the weekend, she learns, things are a bit quieter. Donna Olivia is a washerwoman. The two other ladies used to be varinas, street fish vendors.
São de Barinas de Lisboa? São todas de Lisboa.
Lisbon born and bred, the genuine article.
E como é que apregoava?
How did you used to sell your fish?
O meu peixinho era o melhor de
My fish has 4 eyes. Half an hour ago, it was still swimming in the sea. Senora, look what a little beauty it is.
And you, Donna Preciosa, how do you sell your lottery tickets? Give us a demonstration.
Exatamente, como é que faz? Mas não é para mim, é para ali para aquele lado, para elas.
40, 600, 29. Come on, people. The draw is tomorrow. You've just got to buy a ticket.
Eu vendia na lota não precisava. Ela estava na riba, chegava os...
We used to stand by the shore, and when the fishing boats came back, we'd sing.
Vai minha vida não volta pela barra fora. Ginga, ginga, ginga e torna a gingar. Ele não tem medo das rodeias.
Donna Olivia is 90. She's the city's oldest professional washerwoman, and probably its last. But the fado tradition lives on in Lisbon's youth.
Às vezes sinto desejo de ofender, embora iluda. Meu coração a sofrer. Mas fico quando te vejo.
José Cabral has a shoot date with the new star on the fado scene, Gisela João.
Para te dizer.
She's natural, extroverted, a bit crazy, and lovely.
The caption José Cabral thought up for her is, "Lisbon is my stage."
Sou tua, como o luar é da lua, como as pedras são da rua, e para ser tua nasci.
Sou tua, I am yours. The song is a declaration of love for Lisbon.
Sou pouco de ti.
Gisela comes from northern Portugal, one of 8 children in a farmer's family.
When I was invited to come to Lisbon and sing, I jumped at the chance. I'd have travelled in an ox cart if I had to.
Deixa que os olhos meus só vejam para ver os teus, embora não sejas meu.
I want to get young people interested in fado, including those who have no idea about it. I also listen to a lot of electronic, experimental music, lots of techno and trance. That's why I'd love to go to Berlin, because Germany is an important centre for that type of music. But it is precisely this young audience that I also want to win over to fado. A love of fado knows no age barriers. I really feel that.
Típico.
Gisela João now has a large circle of friends in Lisbon. She's totally happy here and is keen to champion fado. Brought up in provincial Portugal, she has made it in the capital. Gisela is one of the youngest singers on Lisbon's professional fado scene. She's also convinced that she can conquer the world with fado.
Sim, obrigada.
Gisela's zest for life seems to be contagious.
Sing for me.
The music's not right. Come to the Fado Cafe instead.
I've got to work.
But it doesn't start till after midnight.
Are you inviting me?
You'll get fired. I love the acoustics in churches. I pass 2 of them when I go shopping or take a walk. Sometimes I stick my head round the door and sing into the church. I find it fulfilling. It's something really intimate.
Muito íntima. Amiga noiva, mãe, irmã amante, meu amigo está longe e a tristeza é tão grande. Nem som, nem grito, nem ai, tudo calado, todos sem mãe nem pai. Amiga noiva, mãe, irmã amante, meu amigo está longe, meu amigo está longe.
Move into the street a bit more. They'll get out of the way. We're in Lisbon.
Not the tram, though. It'll flatten me.
Okay.
You're becoming more and more of a poser. I'll let you have all of them. Have you got a flash drive? A woman who surfs is always appealing. Very feminine and at the same time sporty. A great mix.
Filipa Prudencio is doing a doctorate in electromagnetism. In the evenings, after university, she goes surfing to relax. A 20-minute drive from Lisbon, the coast at Ericeira is a surfer's paradise.
Lisbon has what I love most in life: the best universities and the loveliest beaches. Wonderful beaches for surfing. That's where I spend most of my time.
Nenhum poema, nenhum verso, nenhum canto, tudo raso da ausência, tudo liso de espanto. Amiga, noiva, mãe, irmã amante, meu amigo está longe. A distância é tão grande.
som, nem grito, nem ai, tudo calado.
Lisbon is my femininity, a caption José Cabral could probably apply to many of the city's women. For young people, Lisbon is one of the most in cities in the world. José and Gisela arranged to meet in the Cais do Sodré. This neighborhood, once frequented by sailors, is now home to a sea of clubs and pubs. And in the bars where fado used to be sung, people now dance to electronic sounds. But the beat doesn't stop Gisela from singing the praises of traditional music here too. The morning in Lisbon is bathed in an extravaganza of light. More and more ocean-going giants pour streams of tourists into the city every day, and money. On Tuesdays and Saturdays, the Alfama district hosts the Feira da Ladra, the robbers' flea market. Sofia Tempero, our tile expert, is doing a bit of detective work.
Those individual tiles there,
They're 45 euros each, from the 18th century. This one costs 85 euros.
do you have a guarantee of origin, proof that the tiles weren't stolen?
No, but when we buy something, we have to provide the police with the name of the vendor. It takes 21 days for everything to be checked. Only then are we allowed to sell.
So checks are made.
Yes, and that's good.
If only that were the case everywhere. The police know that professional art thieves are often commissioned to steal extremely precious antique azulejos, which are then smuggled out of the country to Northern Europe and also to Canada and the United States. Where do these come from?
I bought some. Others I was given. You're asking a lot of questions. Do you also ask where your clothes came from?
If we allow these valuable works of art to be stolen and sold off, we are taking the light out of Lisbon's eyes.
Lisbon and the sea so close. José's caption for Filipa, the surfer in the campaign, and in his blog.
My blog is my baby, if you like. I came up with the name while I was still working at the bank and had a suit altered at my tailor's. I called my blog O Alfaiete Lisboeta. The Tailor of Lisbon. I thought it was a good idea to give something modern the name of an ancient profession. 80-year-old Senor Horatio is the godfather of my blog.
Como se encontra com ele? Acho que ele fica ótimo.
Acho que sim, acho que mantenho aquela ideia que eu tenho sempre a dizer que me faz magro, neste caso.
I've brought something for you, a book about my work.
Muito obrigado.
Nada.
Vou ver.
With a dedication.
You gave me the beautiful name for my crazy but neat idea of writing a blog about our city. The name of your profession.
Tá bem.
I like that.
Tá bem, tá muito bom.